Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great holiday break. So far, it's been really enjoyable for me. I had my sister come out and visit, which you saw if you watched the last video. But today I just wanted to talk a little bit about how my school wrapped up the end of our semester by doing our ICE project, which I think it's integrated curricular event, but I might be wrong about that. I tried to find the paper where it actually said what the official title is, because everyone just calls it ICE, and I think I already threw it away. So sorry. Anyways, we had this event. It was called we just referred to it as ICE, ICE, and it was a 15-minute presentation that we had to do after all of our finals were done, and we did it with a group of students. So we had a group of 8 other students, or I think it was 8 students total, and we were given a case. So it was either a child, an adolescent, an adult, or an older adult, and we were given a case, and then we had to talk about how, as an occupational therapist, we would approach that case. So we had to say what developmental theories, what emotional theories, what motor learning theories, how we would apply those to the case. And then we also had to talk about how we would go out and find evidence to support any interventions, what interventions we would use, what areas we would focus on, what person, environment, and occupational factors would influence that individual, and if there were any social determinants of health that would impact that person's future. We also had to talk about any community resources we might give the family. Basically, we were taking a case and saying from start to finish, as an occupational therapist, how would you approach this case? What would you gain from meeting that person and interviewing them and running any assessments, and then what would you take from the knowledge that you gained from those interviews or those assessments, and how would you go out and find research and interventions, and then once you've gone through the interventions, what kind of grading could you do to make the activities that you were giving them harder or easier based on their skills and their competencies, and then ultimately, once you've discharged them, what kind of plan do you have for them, and any community resources you would give them. So it was actually really, really interesting, and I personally enjoyed it. It was a little bit overwhelming at first when we got the material, but it really wasn't too bad. I thought it was great because we had to take all the information from all of our courses and apply it to this case, and it really brought home some of the reason we learned some of the things, like especially for theories. When we were learning it, it didn't really seem that applicable to occupational therapy, but once we had to take that knowledge and apply it to the case, you could kind of see why we had learned some of the theories and what the relevance of those theories was to occupational therapy. It kind of seemed like the semester was a lot more useful than if we had not had this whole experience. Now, obviously, it was just our first semester of occupational therapy school, so keeping that in mind, we don't have a lot of knowledge in interventions and assessments, and so some of the intervention that my group came up with came from the research that we did on our population, and we didn't run any assessments. They gave us the data from assessments that were run on the client, so since we don't have that knowledge, we didn't do any of that. Now, still, that being said, it is our first semester, so it wasn't that complicated, it wasn't that in-depth or that complex. It was a pretty brief overview, taking what we had learned and applying it to this case. I thought it was really great, and then we had a 15-minute presentation as a group on what we had learned, and we had to turn in a SOAP note, an initial SOAP note for that individual. But I thought it was really, really interesting. It was the group that I worked in is our letter group, which we had been working with throughout the semester. So it was people that we had already been used to and kind of had hopefully worked through any issues with and kind of had rapport with. And then, yeah, 15-minute presentation, nothing big. And then we were done with our semester. The cool thing is we got to hear everyone else's presentations, which was pretty cool, but it was also a lot of presentations because we had, I want to say, we had 3 different people on children, or 3 different groups on children, 3 different groups on adolescents, 3 different groups on adults, and then 3 different groups on older adults. So imagine if you have a 15-minute presentation for each group, how long you're sitting there. But we did have breaks, and they did give us lunch. So there were some perks there. Anyways, I don't think that this is something that all schools do. I think It's pretty unique to my program. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But I just think it was a really cool experience. So I thought I'd kind of explain in a little bit more detail what we did. I hope that you're having a great break, or if you're going through the application process, that it's going well for you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.